wave102.co.uk. This is the home of Wave 102's Help for Kids in partnership with Overgate. This is Wave 102 News.
Good afternoon. Scotland's First Minister Alex Salmond is being urged to hold immediate all-party talks on the independence referendum. It follows days of wrangling between Scottish and UK ministers on whether Holyrood or Westminster should set the terms of the votes. Mr Salmond says there should be no arguments.
A referendum organised in Scotland, built in Scotland, for the Scottish people, discussed with Civic Scotland and then brought to the people in 2014 for a historic decision on the future of this nation.
A man has died in a fire in the Hilltown area. The 41-year-old was unconscious when he was pulled from a top-floor flat at midnight. Paramedics tried to resuscitate him, but he was pronounced dead at the scene. The fire brigade and police are now investigating the incident. We're getting a clearer view of how the High Street fared over Christmas, and with just a few exceptions, the picture is pretty grim. Sales at Tesco were down 2.3% as rivals increased their promotions. Argos, Mothercare and Homebase also reported weak figures. But Andrew Seth, who's author of the book Supermarket Wars, says the supermarket can bounce back.
Of all the retailers that you would say could manage change in the market, Tesco would be that retailer, because boy, have they got experience.
There are a record number of people who are thinking about letting out their home, according to the National Landlords Association. The organisation, which represents landlords throughout the UK, are advising anyone who wants to let out their home to make sure they provide a proper tenancy agreement as well as check any gas appliances. They also want anyone who wants to become a landlord to follow the letter of the law. Chris Norris is from LLA.
There are two things when you're becoming a new landlord to look at, and they're permissions. It's permission if you have a mortgage from your mortgage provider to make sure they do allow you to let that property, because that would void any insurance or potentially cause problems with your mortgage provider. But also to make sure that the insurance cover you have for the building and crucially for the content is appropriate for letting out property.
And finally, an extreme sports fan caused aviation safety fears after the kite he was using while landboarding drifted towards Dundee Airport. Airport staff had to help the man to make sure his kite didn't become tangled with an incoming plane. Aviation rules state that kites shouldn't be flown higher than 30 metres when next to an airport. Kite flyers on nearby Magdalen Green are also being warned to take care. Councillor Fraser McPherson explains the areas people wanting to fly kites should avoid.
The Civil Aviation Authority has made clear that it is not safe to fly kites very close to an airport, particularly where planes are coming in on the flight path. Therefore, the airport is making it clear that people should really fly their kites well away from the airport, and not, for example, at the Riverside Nature Park, which is adjacent to the airport, but a little bit further away from there.
With Wave 102 News, I'm David Proctor.
Thanks, David. Just gone 3 minutes past 2 then. It's Thursday's drive time with Gary Elwyn. On the way, we've got music.